a personal level, I just know that I have so much more to do, and I still sometimes feel like I'm behind because in my mind I see myself being so much more further than I am, and that's just because I'm probably one of my biggest critics. I don't allow my circumstances to dictate how I move. I choose to move how I want to move.
Well, let's get this cracking.
Can you picture this? Gino rockin' with CYPT. Podcast of the D with Clay and the crew. It's like my CTV. They be giving game out so much, you could take the same route. Especially if you take risks, this YouTube, you make sense.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? You're listening to the CYPT podcast. It's the podcast of the strongest, fastest, most powerful print shop on this side of the Eastern Seaboard. I'm just Niles.
It's your boy Boogie behind the camera.
I'm Clay, also known as Fearless.
Today we have with us a very special guest. Please let everyone know who you are and what you do, sir.
This the God Lord Vic, man. You know, I reign in hell from Detroit, West Side, Dexter. I'm a aspiring entrepreneur, recording artist. You know, I like to think of myself as a great father, husband, brother, friend, all around type of genuine dude. And I'm just here to represent, man, and represent my city.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how you do it right there.
Indeed.
That's how you do it right there.
That's what it's about.
Tell me about how you got started with from what at least I want to know about the music first.
Sure.
How did you start with that?
That's kind of crazy. So me being with music, that was like my first love outside of cars and candy. To be quite honest, I started writing rhymes and stuff like way back in the day. I was like 12, 13 years old. I got a lot of rap influences from ranging from everybody from Nas and KRS-One all the way up to Cool G Rap, Kool Moe D, LL. Like I got a lot of special influences, but my history with music goes all the way back when I was like 11, 12 years old when I really started taking it serious.
Okay. And now, what's the latest project that you have out now?
So my latest project is called Paper and Priority. It's my second single off an upcoming album that I have called Equilibrium. And I'm getting ready to, release it. I'm anticipated slated date is like around January, first week of January, 2024.
If you could choose a song off that album to be a single, which one would you choose?
It's crazy. Honestly, this Paper and Priority, this is one of the ones that seems like it's getting the most buzz, and it seems like it's been taken off pretty quickly. Ironically enough, I actually just dropped it about 3 days ago, and it seemed like it has been getting more acknowledgement than some of the other ones that I've released, especially on social media. I normally, release my music through social media just to get like a feel of what, people and what the heartbeat of the city is.
That's the thing to do now.
For sure, absolutely.
What kind of rap style would you say it is? Is it conscious music, gangster rap?
With that particular song?
Period. Like, what kind of rapper are you?
So I'm gonna be honest. I like to just think of myself as an artist. I wouldn't want to condense myself to just being a rapper. Right. It just sounds like it's just so cliche. I think when you consider yourself to be an artist, you don't just conform to one style or one way of kind of expressing yourself. Me, I like to express myself in multiple different ways. I can range everywhere from R&B and talking about the way I love my lady, all the way to getting down on some going back to the block. You know what I'm saying? I can go either way with it, but I also can go from a conscious level as well because I just think that because of my experiences in life, it allows me to have that type of latitude to move in any direction that I want to.
Okay, well,
honestly.
Now you seem to stay in the studio, man. Like you drop projects pretty frequently. If we want to listen to your latest project, which would be another one that you will want everyone to listen to really give an idea of who you are as an artist?
Okay. So the project or the single that I released right before the last one. The last one that I released prior to this Paper and Priority was a feature that I did with Mozzie, and that one was, it was a bit hardcore. But the one before that was kind of like my single with just me on it, and it was called FWM for F with me for lack of a better term.
Is he a Detroit rapper? Or is he
So Mozzie is out of California. He's he actually not too long ago signed to Yo Gotti's label. He's on there with ESTG, 42 Doug, and a few other individuals. You know, Big Boogie, and you know he's starting to make a lot of noise, man. He been doing it for a minute, and you know I was definitely appreciative to get that feature.
Not only were you on the track with him, but you've also been on tracks with Yo Gotti too.
So let me explain that really quickly. So basically, how that happened. Not too long ago, some people probably remember that Yo Gotti had issued a challenge, and it was more of a
I remember that.
like a open verse type challenge. And it's crazy because I had no idea about it, and this is really nuts. I wasn't even focused on music at that time. You know, we'll get off into that a little later on, but I wasn't really focused on music at this time. One of my partners had came to me like, "Yo, bro, man, you heard about this new Yo Gotti challenge?" And I'm like, "Nah, like, what is it?" He like, "Man, I'm telling you, I think I should do it." And this is crazy because he kind of out there, so he intermingles and deals with a lot of different individuals, you know. So he got plugs, for lack of a better term, and he was like, "Man, I think you should do it." And, you know, because of my age and, you know, again, we kind of get off into that, and because of how I was viewing things at the time that he brought this opportunity to me, I was like, bro, I'm too old to be doing challenges. I'm not on that. And he was like, listen, man, I know some people, and I might be able to open a few doors. Just do it. Just try it. Just see what it turned out to be. And I took him up on his offer. I said, all right, I'll drop a few joints, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, 16, whatever. And I did it. And when they heard it, and when I saw the response from some of the people, it was like wow, okay. But it turned out that, you know, presumably that Yo Gotti had put that challenge out there because he was trying to, you know, get another artist signed or whatever. I'm not really sure. I don't know the details, so I won't speak on that. But as it turned out, there were multiple people who was doing this challenge. But I did get word back that he actually heard it. And he said it was dope. So that was enough for me to, you know, be motivated enough to keep moving.
Why weren't you focused on music at the time?
Well, to be quite honest, you know, this kind of goes back into a conversation that I'm sure we'll have a little bit later on. So not long ago, I was incarcerated, and I was away for quite some time. And from a personal perspective, I decided I just didn't even want to listen to music no more. It's crazy because music was like my first love. But because of the circumstances and the things that I was facing during that time, and me understanding the dynamics that music created memories, I didn't want to even listen to certain music while I was in there because I knew it was going to create memories that I didn't want to even inhabit within my soul.
So you wasn't rapping while you was incarcerated
no,
at all?
So I say for the first couple of years, honestly, because in my mind, I think the mentality that I had when I first became incarcerated was that, I'm finna get right out. You know, I'm finna drop this money, man. I'm finna get out on this appeal. I'm finna go out here. I'm finna go hard. And I think that, you know, it was a reality check when I, you know, kind of figured out that that's not how it actually worked. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because I faced so many adversities and financial issues and, you know, lawyers, and it was a lot that was going on, I had to prioritize myself and start realizing what was the most important. And I think what became more important was me, you know, internalizing truth and soul searching and realizing what I needed to do. And so I kind of put my music on the back burner because me being in prison wasn't going to allow me to, you know, fulfill that, you know, destiny.
So how long were you in prison?
So I was actually incarcerated for 18 and a half years.
So during that stretch, you had no passion to rap at all?
I won't say that. I would be remiss if I didn't say that. There were times because, like, you know, when just prison politics and just the way that things are, you know, it's a lot of pastimes that take place while you're in prison. And, you know, unfortunately, it can work to your advantage and it can sometimes work to your detriment. But I just utilized it as an opportunity to get away from the mundane days and the consistent non-activity that was going on in there. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I had partners who, you know, would go on the yard and they get in the cipher and they get the spitting or whatever. And it was crazy because even sometimes, you know, the administration within the prison would promote it because it kept individuals out of trouble. And so I joined a couple of ciphers and, you know, I spit a few bars here and there. But it was just like a pastime type thing. and to keep myself occupied and not focus so much on my time. But it was nothing that I was really, really taking seriously.
Now, was that toward the latter part of your bit or in the beginning?
I would have to say that was toward the beginning. I would say so I was incarcerated officially in August of 2000, and like for the first couple of years, I wasn't really, I ain't gonna say I wasn't taking it serious. It's just that I saw a different vision. I saw myself going in there, you know, because this is being real. Like I didn't really accept responsibility like I do now. I didn't see things like I saw it. I was just a young cat. I was real arrogant because of the life that I lived prior to me being incarcerated. And I think that because of my arrogance, it was more so like, man, they ain't talking about nothing. I'm going to be out of here and I'm going to be on this, that, and the other. But it made me realize, again, what was most important. And I think that me focusing on rap, it just wasn't in my best interest.
So you pretty much honed your craft when you came out of prison.
Well, again, and this is with all humility, I think that ever since I was younger, 12, 13, 14, 15, when I first got into it, I really do believe I was so far advanced more than a lot of my peers who were just standing in ciphers, right? And I realized it. Like in school, I was always a school dude. I loved school. I loved English. I loved words. I loved being able to express myself in various different ways, and I did it well. It could be potentially, on astrological level. It could be because I'm a Libra, I'm an air sign, my communication skills are a little bit more advanced than the average individual in that department, or it could just be because I really loved words. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I was a bit past the individuals that were, rapping at that time. But I honed my skills back then, but I think that as I gained more experience, I was able to talk about and express myself in different ways that a person who was probably just learning that skill set wouldn't have been able to do.
We had a guest some weeks ago named my name Kayla, who's also a Detroit artist.
Sure.
He said the exact same thing you said. A friend of his said that you rap great. Your delivery is good, but you have to live a little more. You have to have a little more of something to say.
Sure.
And that really just brought me back there. So we get out.
In what year?
So I was actually released September 18th, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. That was when I was actually
What's the
released.
game plan?
So
'cause you do a lot. So did you hit the ground running, or
I like to think I did, but I'm gonna be honest, man. My wife would beg to differ. Boy, you really, really took off, and I think that some of my peers and just other individuals that I receive encouragement for, who kind of like have followed my story from the beginning, or people who've known me prior to me going in, they, of course, say that the path that I took was probably the most righteous one, and I think it's working for me. Me on a personal level, I just know that I have so much more to do, and I still sometimes feel like I'm behind because in my mind I see myself being so much more further than I am, and that's just because I'm probably one of my biggest critics. I don't allow my circumstances to dictate how I move. I choose to move how I want to move, and if I'm not moving according to how I see things, I just sometimes feel like I'm behind. But ultimately, I do, when I really just pay attention to what's going on around me, and to be quite honest, I do have sometimes or certain points in my life where I compare myself to not only myself, but to other individuals who have not only been in the same situation that I am, but individuals who've been out here during the time that I was in there, and I see how much more progress that I've made as opposed to looking at what I'm seeing. And it's like, bro, how you still doing this? And I've been gone for almost 20 years. You still here? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's not everybody moves at their own pace. Everybody moves at their own, you got to reach your levels how you reach your levels. Everybody's, journey is different. But I also recognize and understand, man, that things are not just predicated on how life happens. Certain things you just got to make happen. And I think because I took the route of leadership in my life, I think that I'm moving a little bit quicker and a bit more efficient than other individuals, because I had a plan before I came home. I didn't just come home and say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I actually had to change the way that I was thinking prior to me getting home so that when I did get home, I can connect with what reality I was going to,
So
meet when I came in.
basically changed your whole mindset while you was incarcerated.
I did.
How
honestly.
do you do that?
So, well, multiple different ways. For me, I think the greatest challenge was me accepting full responsibility for the life that I lived. It was real easy for me to say, and I'm sure, again, we'll get into the details.
So
of the
like
case
an atonement?
I was to a certain extent.
Okay.
I think it was more so, again, me just accepting responsibility for the fact that I control my destiny. I control how I move. I control the causes and effects that take place within my life. I think we have been conditioned, not only as a people, but just in general, that there is something else governing how we maneuver. Mm-hmm. And when you give that type of power to something external, you allow that same power that you given away to, move you in a direction it wants to move you, if it even exists.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You mentioned your wife. Were you guys married while you was locked up, or when you came home you got married?
So this is a real wild.
Bro, you smile every time.
Yeah, man.
I love that between
if y'all really understood the
every time.
listen, if y'all understood the dynamics of what this woman has done in my life and the role that she played in my life, man, y'all would probably say I wasn't smiling enough. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is, man, this is crazy. So, I was a street hustler. I did what I did in the streets, and so I had knowledge about this young lady. It's crazy. I'm gonna get straight to the point on this one because I don't want to do the suspenseful thing. Basically, what it was, man, this is a young lady who I had knowledge of prior to me becoming incarcerated, because I was in the hood. I knew everybody basically, but because I was on the path that I was on, certain things didn't attract to me like it probably would if I was focused otherwise. But I had knowledge about this young lady, and I was hustling, doing my thing, and years passed, and that's just what it was. So we fast forward into the future, like 2014. I'm in prison, and because of the life that I lived, which had its benefits here and there, I had a certain reputation that preceded me. And so I had access to things that a lot of people didn't. I had access to cell phones and things of that nature. So with me having a cell phone and me being able to maneuver in a way that I was maneuvering on the inside after a while, I'm on Facebook, I'm on social media, not just for play. I'm really trying to get myself out of prison. But I did understand that I had to be conscious about how life was still moving while I was in there. I didn't want to become a dinosaur. So with me being active on social media, blah, 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 and because, truthfully, I was incarcerated for a crime that I didn't commit. Okay. I'm going to say that. However, again, circumstances, I accept responsibility is what it was. But I had created this page called the Walker Brothers Freedom Group because I was incarcerated with two of my brothers. And I was kind of expressing the dynamics of our case and how it happened, how we really weren't supposed to be there, just trying to gain support, because it was very difficult for me fighting my case, especially when the lawyers pretty much took all my money and I had to learn the law myself and fight. I had to do what was necessary to get out.
Did you just say you made a website in jail?
I did. Now, I not only made a website, that's how I started my first company, which ultimately gave me the financial means to hire an additional lawyer and utilize the skills that I had learned from.
Wow. You started a company while you was in prison.
I did.
And tell me about that company.
So it's crazy. So right now, it's a company that my wife is running. It's called Vicky Mac. During the time that I was incarcerated, I always liked designing clothes. I've been designing clothes since I was younger. It started way back when, I used to watch my mother sew our clothes, like we'd get a tear in our clothes or whatever, and I was just fascinated how she would mend it and put it back together like how it was. And from that, I just started, being more aware of fashion and how people take things and design them, and I got off into that. Long story short, that never left me. So during the time I was incarcerated, I was using my time wisely. I took a course with this company or a university called Stratford Career Institute, got my credentials in fashion design and merchandising, and I became more aware of how that dynamic worked. The only thing I was missing was the means to do it, because, when you're away for a while and, you become out of sight, out of mind, you have to do things on your own. So, again, because I had the means to do so through the knowledge about how to use the cell phone and stuff like that, I was able to pool all of that together. I knew I wanted to start a fashion company. I wanted to market to women, just mainly because, just being real, I knew that women were the primary consumers in a certain market, but also because of the life that I live, I knew that I could cater to certain women and they would be more receptive to it than if I was just to try to, reach out to a dude. So the name of the company is called Vicky Mac. Vicky Mac is pretty much a company. It was based off of women's empowerment. The logo is a halo with horns, which demonstrates that, a woman by nature is righteous, but is also that naughty aspect about themselves. So I just wanted women to realize that they can be themselves no matter what, mood they were in at a specific or given time. Y'all nature is righteous, so as long as y'all doing what y'all know y'all supposed to do, that's what it'll be. And I wanted them to identify more so with the brand as opposed to the name, because I wanted them to see themselves in it. Mm-hmm. And once I started it, I started generating sales from behind the wall. I had a few friends, and I asked them to open up some accounts for me, and I kind of did that, and pretty much that's the rest. The rest is history.
That's wild. And I'm glad you had touched on that, because I really wanted to ask you how you managed to just stay so current with your time in there. And when you came out, you just came out going. And I'm also happy that you brought up your fashion design, because I did see a couple designs that I thought were super cool, and I wanted to know if you could tell me a little bit more about it.
Sure.
This rooster that you got on this, no, because I'm into like really cool stuff that you see it and makes you think. It's an incredible graphic. I like where it's placed. I like the simplicity of it, because simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication.
Indeed.
Tell me a little bit about this, and what's this saying behind it? I got the Detroit and Paris and Milan, but what's this?
Okay, so
tell me about this brand.
So this is real crazy, right? This is a brand that I'm currently working on now, and I haven't even really been promoting it.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all good. No, I'm not tripping about that.
It's fire. I can't wait till y'all see this.
I actually have put it out there to a certain extent, but it was kind of just to get a little bit of feedback. And I'm going to go into something, and I'm going to come back away from it just for the purpose of this conversation. So, of course, I do have another brand called The Official Brands. It's the, Old English D with the stamp across it.
I saw that one.
It's the Detroit-based business that's been kind of, picking up since the pandemic, and that's another story.
But this one's crazy.
This one right here, I'm going to be honest with it. This is crazy. So my main thing behind this brand was I wasn't even going to put it out as myself. I wasn't going to put it out as the actual owner. And to be quite honest, it was a bit of strategy behind it. I don't even want to say I was being dishonest. It's just that I'm actually looking at the market. I'm looking at different individual scenarios, and I'm realizing, put it like this, I learned from my previous business what I could do with this business to make it more efficient. And as unfortunate as it may be, man, sometimes you gain ideas from negativity. And what I mean by that is, like, with my first couple of brands that I put out there, it was almost as if I received more support and love and recognition from individuals that I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. And I would have thought that the individuals who saw me grow through the previously, described struggles that I had been through, and seeing me come out trying to do the right thing, I would have gotten more support. Not saying nobody owes me anything. It's just the fact that when you see somebody doing something productive and they're using their abilities and their resources to help others genuinely, because every one of my companies has a social influence associated with it where I give back. Everything that comes in, I'm giving something back.
Okay.
Right? But with this particular brand, and I experienced so much, I'll just say, shortfall with the other two companies, even though I managed to move forward, I was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with a different strategy. I'm going to put this brand out as if it's not even mine. I'm just going to act as the brand ambassador and see how I get reception. And the reception was overwhelming.
Outrageous.
Just couldn't believe it. But to get to your question and the answer of it, so the bird, it's called Earl LeBird, right? But it's a play on words because it really means early bird. Because I have a penchant for individuals who like to get up and go hustle and make it happen, regardless of what lifestyle you live in. We hustle in every, aspect, whether you white collar, blue collar, whether you're on the street, whatever, you hustling if you really trying to make something happen for yourself. So to me, that bird, that rooster, identifies, and people can relate to it because that's the first bird that's up on the block that's waking everybody else up to go get it, right?
I saw it on that
so
sweater.
It's not only Earl LeBird, it's early bird.
And what does the early bird do?
Early bird get the worm.
Hey man,
Get the worm. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's crazy because some of my other designs is like, I ain't really go off into it, but it's worms all over. You know, I'm using the worm as the dynamics and the image of money, or what the goal is, what we trying to get to.
That is trippy.
It's gonna be crazy, bro.
That is trippy.
It's gonna go crazy, bro. And then I have a woman's line up under, actually it's 3 lines altogether under Earl LeBird. So you got Earl LeBird, which is the basic one. Then you have Ayam Samani. Ayam Samani is actually the only black chicken on this planet where everything on it is black. The eyes, the heart, the beak, everything is black.
The what?
What is it called?
What is it called?
It's called Ayam Samani. That's the actual name of the bird.
Oh, that's gonna be lit.
It's ridiculous. Everything in the collection is all black. Everything is black, but it has certain highlights and accents which can kind of differentiate the design and the patterns that's in it. Right. It's dope as hell. And then I have for the women's line, it's called Chic Chic or Chick Chick, but it's the female version of the bird.
The play on these birds is wild.
It's crazy.
So when we plan on getting this line?
So I'm actually, I'm slated to do again. I'm trying to come out in 2024, knocking everything out the box. And so I'm preparing in this year and just not rushing myself, because it's been so many opportunities where I could have just put it out, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna take things.
What's the plan? What's the plan to get it out?
So ultimately, just being real, I'm using my platform as an artist to kind of like demonstrate what I stand on and what I represent as an individual and as an artist. But with that also comes the dynamics of me being straight up a hustler. I have no qualms about calling myself a hustler, because that's what I do. I get up and I go make things happen for myself and for my family, because that's the only way you're gonna get something done. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing for you.
I see your drive.
You can't expect that.
I see your drive and your passion,
you know what I mean?
when you came in. Like the energy that you brought was so overwhelming. I was like, this brother, he got it going on.
Appreciate it.
And I like that about you. That's why I like working with you. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
I want to help in any way.
Hey, when I first met this brother, right, man, you know what I'm saying? He was really, he's really receptive, man, to what I was on. He was really accommodating, and it's like he took time to really understand what it was I was striving to accomplish, because, anytime you start a new venture or, meet new individuals and you're trying to get something going, that's always the hardest stages. But it's so much more encouraging when you got other individuals who are interested in seeing what you're talking about, as opposed to just trying to get something from you. You dig what I'm saying? And it made a lot of difference. I just want to say that to you just on air. It meant a lot.
Appreciate it.
You know what I mean? Because without that type of motivation, it's just that much more difficult to get things started. Me personally, I always thrived off of pressure. I don't care what situation. If I see something in my mind, you can't tell me it can't be done, because I see it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that still doesn't negate the fact that it could be difficult and extra obstacles cause you to like.
So what's some of the challenges that you facing getting to where you want to be right now in the rap game, and also like in the clothing line that you're trying to put out?
Well, to be quite honest, I think, again, because I consider myself as my worst critic, I think any obstacle I place before myself, or anything that I see as a potential obstacle, is what always causes me to second guess things. Mm. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, because I'm a Libra, I have a tendency to, I don't even want to say procrastinate, but I do just constantly overthink before I just move on something. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. Mm-hmm. But specifically when it comes to the music industry, I'm going to put this out here because this is just what it is. And, it's a conversation that I have with myself often. Some individuals, man, who you deal with or may have connections to, they don't always have your best interests at heart. And sometimes when it seems like they do, it's really not that. Like, I'm going to put it out here like that, for real. It's been individuals who I thought would be 100% again supportive, but also cats that I considered my people. It was almost as if they saw my vision, knew that it was really what I said it was, because when I communicate myself, I try to be as informative as possible so there's no room for misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. But sometimes what happens is individuals see your vision so much that they think that if you do get on, you're going to pass them up. And so now you got to they'll try to do what they can to not help you get to where you at.
Right.
And I think it's part of my challenge is being able to identify that type of a scenario when it takes place, because it happens so often. And because I'm a relationship type person, I don't like conflict. So if I see something that is not going to be in my best interest, I try my best to move around it, because I'm also not as impulsive as I once was, but I'm one of them type of people that has no problem with confronting my challenges. But because I've been where I've been in my life, I try to just kind of be smooth about it and do what I need to do and still get the job done.
Does that give you more drive?
It does. It does, honestly, and it's crazy. So this kind of started even when I was younger. I had individuals in my family, even like something as simple as me graduating 8th grade, and I remember these things really vividly because this is my motivation. When I was younger, there were individuals, you ain't going to graduate, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, this, that, and other. But again, because and I've always been like this. If I see something in my mind, you can't tell me it's not going to happen. I've already calculated it. Mm-hmm. It's already there.
Right.
So if I see it in my mind, I know I can do it, I'm going to do it. You may be saying that, but I'm more so like, watch this then. Mm-hmm. And it may take me longer to get it done just because I have those resistant forces against me. But I'm going to get it done, man. That's what's up. That's what it is.
Do you ever merge your rap career and the fashion into one thing? Is there ever a time where they cross, or are they two completely different worlds and they can't?
No, I definitely think, because they both forms of expression. I use my music to convey what I feel, and I use what I'm wearing to make how I feel come out.
They're both art.
They both art. For instance, okay, I'm representing.
So you wore this. Tell us about this.
Okay, so this is another collection under the official brand. Okay. I'm from Dexter, right? I always love my hood, but I don't want it to be one of those situations where my hood makes me. I represent my hood because this is where I'm from, but I also understand it's my duty and responsibility to uplift where I came from and not let where I came from uplift me, because if you do, it can go up or down. The hood is just a hood. If you don't make it be what you want it to be or demonstrate yourself what it is, then it's going to be whatever somebody else make it. So with Dexter Ave, I really represent that because that's where I came from. I look at it, at all of the trials and tribulations and experiences and the great things that took place on Dexter. I want other people to understand it too. I want to represent it so when people ask me a question, I can tell them about this or tell them about that. If they ask me about the good, I can tell them about the good. They ask me about the bad, I can tell them about the bad. But ultimately, if someone sees me, whether it be successful, whether you see me as being somebody that's inspiring, whatever you see me as, just know that this is where I came from. And if I came from here, because this is one of the, arguably one of the worst places that you could actually come up at. Mm-hmm. So if I can put it out there and say, this is where I came from and this is what I'm doing, then if I can do it, then anybody can do it.
Dexter on what?
Dexter. I was raised on Dexter and Northwestern, but, between Dexter and Linwood area.
Were you running any of your businesses or rapping during the pandemic time?
It's a funny thing. So that's actually when it started. Not long after the pandemic is when that dollar for dollar challenge came about. And I would be remiss. I have to say this on air, man, because I definitely need to talk to this guy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but it's one of my brothers. So during the time I was in incarceration, I gained knowledge of self. I did a lot of studying, and I don't even want to say I became. It's just that I took heed to a lot of the lessons that I learned, and I became more consciously aware, and I began to gravitate toward the Nation of Gods of Earth, or the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths, during the time that I was incarcerated. And one of my brothers who kind of like gave me enlightenment and kind of, offered me information about this particular organization, he's also one of the individual who kind of re-inspired me to get back into this. This was the guy who came like, hey, man, I think you should do this, that, and the other.
Get back into the rap game or
it's into the rap game. Like, he was like, because he knew that I was on that, but we were in there together. And he would see me every day. Like, seriously, this was my agenda every day I woke up.
So he heard you spit in the ciphers and everything.
Not not necessarily all of the disciples, because after a while, when he and I crossed paths, I was already past it.
Okay.
Whatever. Right? But because I was my thing was, when I got up every day, I was striving to make myself better. So if I wasn't out working out, if I wasn't at the law library, I was sitting down figuring out which plans of mine I was going to put together when I got home, even before I knew or had a solid foundation to say I'm going home at a specific time, because I knew working on what I was striving to accomplish would prepare that opportunity for me. And because we kind of build, and he saw what I was on, we just had conversations about this, and I told him I was into music because, again, the fashion, he saw me drawing, because I was drawing sketches and stuff when I was in there. And we just had that talk. And that's when he found out I was recording artists and all of that stuff. And fast forward, we both home. He got home a little bit before I did. And when I came home, I was getting myself together. And he brought me this opportunity, like, hey, bro, it's this challenge going down and blah, 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 blah. And, I think you should check it out. And I'm like, yeah, whatever.
How did he know? If he hadn't heard you rap and you weren't doing in the cell, you were drawing.
Well,
how did he know?
Well, again, we had a conversation about it. Like, he has heard me rap, because I also do spoken word. But it was one of those days, like, I'm sitting up drawing my stuff, and I'm talking to him about the music industry and what I was doing before I got locked up or whatever. And he like, let me hear something. And I dropped it on him. He like, damn, he used to spit too. So he kind of identified whether it was the lyricism or the fact that I was able to express myself in that manner. He like, dog, got it. You know what I mean?
Undoubtedly, prison has taken a lot of your time away from you.
Indeed.
Do you feel a sense of urgency to get this thing done now? And how has that like pushed you to go harder? And when do you think like your time, if it's a limit, when would it be?
So I'm gonna say this, because this kind of ties back to what my original thing was. I'm gonna be honest, man, just as being as transparent as I possibly can. For a very long time, and I felt insecure about my age. And that was one of the reasons why I kept once I stopped listening to music in there, I'm like, and all them years started passing, I'm like, man, that's dead. If I do anything, I'll probably ghostwrite for a couple of people, learn more about the music industry and operate from an engineering perspective. I'll do something like that, learn, on that, because I'm legally inclined, so I have no problem with like creating contracts, all of that. So in my mind, it was more so like time has passed me by. I came home when I was 40, 42, roughly, right? And so I'm like,
bro, how old are you?
I'm 46.
Perfect.
46. Indeed.
Hey, you the second one on here, like,
bro, like what is it?
What are these people eating?
What are y'all eating?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. This is kind of crazy. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get back to what we just talking about.
What is your morning routine? How are y'all doing this?
I think because some individuals in there don't look like they look a lot older than they are.
Yeah.
But I think some of it it's part of the mindset. It's part diet. It's part exercise. Part genetics. It's part a lot of things. I think what has kept me personally preserved, it's crazy, it's gonna sound funny,
is your sheer determination.
Determination. I think also because my mentality, I don't see myself as being older. I don't. I see myself as still being a certain age and being able to compete and maneuver and do the things that I did when I was younger. I do.
It's literally a mindset.
It's a mindset. However, again, just because it is a mindset, that doesn't mean that you don't have certain thoughts. Like, for instance, when you see a young cat spitting, whoop, 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 saying what he doing, and you like, shoof, he nice with it. You know what I'm saying? Before I went in there, I used to go rock shows for real. I've been out of different states. I didn't rock some shows. But when I came back and I realized like how much the music has changed, it's a lot that goes into that. And it's like, okay. But even with that being said, I think because the conditioning of us and people in general and just how society is, certain things that you feed off of, it has a tendency to attach to your soul and your consciousness, and that's what it is. For instance, I've heard on so many occasions women say, man, I'm not trying to date no dude trying to be no rapper and he's 40 years old. Right? I've also heard like, man, like who, come on, man, that's a young man's game. You know, all of these syllogisms, for lack of a better term, you hearing this thing and it automatically is interpreted as something else, and it's just like, maybe I shouldn't be.
But in your mind, you can do whatever you want to do.
You can.
If you want to, you can be a 55-year-old rapper.
Now,
that's
what you still have to balance yourself and battle yourself with. Because for real talk, I was really on the ropes. Like, I'm good with writing. I know I'm not gonna never lose that. Mm-hmm. But as far as performing wise, do I really need to be competing? So, long story short, this is what it boiled down to and why I'm at where I'm at now. When I did the $1 for $1 challenge, mm-hmm. and I saw the reception, it was like, oh, okay, people, okay, they feeling you,
right?
But then I started realizing more and more as I got more into it, because remember, I was done with music and whatever. I started realizing that we create our own audiences now. It ain't necessarily even about ageism. Right. They don't care about that. Right. Do you got skill sets? Who do you know? How effective are you at controlling the crowd? How is your delivery? It's still the same things that it was back then. You just in a new time, and you just got to figure out who you talking to and how
create your own
audience.
Because, you know, guys my age, I like rap.
Indeed.
So who do I listen to?
Exactly.
And so if I can listen to you and you talking about what I want to hear, then I'm your audience.
That's what I had to come to terms with. And so now that I understand this, it's like, oh, and it ain't just, you know, back in the day, it was like, you know, you in your city, you got your CDs, you got your tapes, you doing your thing, and you reaching who you reach. Before I went in, the internet, social media, that didn't exist. I went in 2000. It wasn't like that.
That wasn't like that. And you got a way,
you know what I
mean? You coming out with a way, your plan for getting your music out. Tell me a little bit about that and how you jumping over this, I guess, how people Spotify is getting the money.
Indeed.
You found a way to get your own money.
So one of the things that I noticed, you know, coming out and considering when wanting to get back into the music industry was like, how do I make money? I'm not out here trying to do it for a long time. And again, like we just discussed, still feel I'm racing against time. I'm not no young dude no more. So I got to make it count because I still have aspirations to be in movies and do soundtracks and things that I know has longevity in it. But in the meantime, I want to get myself established enough to where people recognize and say, he is somebody that he's credible, right? So in my mind, I'm like, well, this is what I need to do then. Figure out how I'm going to make money and how it's going to benefit me without wasting my time. So I started noticing and looking at the different ways that people making money now. Pretty much everything in music is coming through streaming, the primary outlet. And so with streaming, there's other individuals that are controlling that. And so with them controlling it, they got the latitude to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, because they're the ones that's running it. But I can remember a time back in the day when I was selling my CDs and I was selling my tapes out the trunk. I had control over that regardless of what I was doing and who I was doing it with. I was able to do that. And so I'm like, how can we get back to that era but still be in modern times? So I came up with somewhat of a concept, and I'm working on it. It's almost complete, whereas I've come up with the new version of CDs or a new version of tapes. And I've studied it, I've looked at it, and I've come up with what I'm call AV media plates. AV media plates, and AV standing for audio visual, is more so of a plate or a credit card type of a material that is of a certain size that will have certain images printed on it to illustrate what your music is, what it's about, you know, just a tangible item that you can hold in your hand physically and say, this is something of value, right? But also it has what we're dealing with QR codes and other ways to get directly to the source of download or the source of music that you want to put out, so that I can effectively sell these cards and an individual can download my music and have it directly in their hand. But even with that, I wanted to go a step further so that no one could duplicate it or leak it. So the program that I'm using and the program that I'm working on allows you to scan the QR code, but it can only be used one time, similar to a gift card or like a Snapchat, type of a deal where it pretty much disappears after you use it the first time and no one else can access it but the person who has that email who originally accessed it.
Whoa. Genius. Perfect. Going back to, and also you can sell your merch on there.
Your merch.
Putting the money right back into
your money right back. And so now, exactly when I'm at a venue and say I'm doing a show, and whoever is in control of my merchandise, even if it be myself, I have my AV media plates with the associated value or denomination or whatever is on there. Say it may be a EP with 6 songs on it, and I'm selling it for $5. I'm actually getting that full $5 while the person is actually getting exchange for it, the music that they're paying for. They don't have to go through Spotify. They can come straight through me.
Man.
Oh, that's genius. Lit.
Genius.
That's lit. No, I told you, don't tell me nothing about it until we got here, but I still need to know about Cardi Claus. You got
so dig, right? This is crazy. This is another thing that I was talking about with regards to the with my businesses and me giving back, right? So Cardi Claus is a character that I came up with. Number one, we represent Detroit. Everybody know that, Cartiers are associated with individuals who come from Detroit, right? So I came up with the concept, instead of dealing with Santa Claus, we're going to deal with Cardi Claus. So this character that I created, he's all about bringing cheer or whatever, but he bringing it with a style, a way of expressing himself on, how we do. So I have various different, I dress up as this character. I have various different, outfits, and I have a wardrobe, and I'm always wearing a pair of Cartiers, but I'm a fun-loving type of a Claus. Yeah. I'm not Santa Claus. I'm not Saint Nick. I'm Cardi Claus, and I'm bringing it to you just like how you need it. Only this, so I've been doing it for the last 2 years. The first year was kind of like a trial run just to see how people received it.
How you getting?
They loved it, man.
It sounds like such a good idea to me. Listen, it sounds like such a good idea.
I came out and I did. I had a camouflage get up on during this first go round, and
camouflage Santa Claus,
camouflage Santa suit. People were looking like, "What?"
No ring.
It was crazy.
It
was crazy, right? And I had the gray beard. I'm like, I ain't want to do white. I want to have a little youth to me, right? People liked it. But then the next year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do an all black and white joint. I did it, and I had the black beard, and I let my dreads down. They like, oh, that's dope. This year, man, I'm coming hard, right? So I got a whole new get up. I want to talk about it yet. I don't want to reveal it. But I'm definitely going to be promoting it pretty soon. I'm going to be doing a lot of different venues. I'm going to allow individuals to book me, children, parties, adult social clubs, all of that. But also, man, I wasn't gonna say anything about this either, but y'all hearing the first song here, man. I'm getting ready to drop a hip hop Christmas song this year because people ain't did it yet, and I'm gonna do it like only Cat from the D can do it. It's gonna be dope. But Cardi Claus gonna put it together.
That's what's up. With Laura Vic.
Hey, with Laura Vic.
Before I end this podcast, and you tell us all your social medias, how to reach you. But first,
yeah,
I want you to take us out of here with one of your raps. Give us some bars so we can hear.
Some bars? Okay, bars. Check this out, right? So I'm gonna say on this second verse to this paper and priority, I'm just gonna give you the first few bars.
Okay.
What I said specifically was, I'm up front, right? This is crazy. I said, I'm up front. The wins, the hows, the why and what, torn from a different cloth, so they notice my rags are fine cut, right? My rags are fine cut. I don't want to cuss. A grown man manages, and I can pass on any play because I got another bag lined up, right? Oh my God, it's you know what? I don't even want to give it away because this particular joint is so hard, man. Y'all need to really, really just take it in, man. Just take it in.
I'm almost want to allow you to cuss.
I'm about to say, he can't cuss.
I know it's hindering you, but that's good.
Okay, but look, I do it now. I don't know. Make me cuss.
I tell you what, something better. Just tell the people where they can
listen to it.
Okay, even better. So I got a couple of platforms, right? Of course, you can go to my YouTube page. You can tap in Lord Vic in the search bar, or you can just go effectively at Lord Victory to God. You can go to Instagram at Lord Victory to God. You can go to Facebook at Lord Victory to God. You can also go to Linktree, Lord Victory to God. Just type in Lord Victory to God on any of your social media platforms. You can catch me on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, Tidal. My music is on all of these different platforms, but to get, a little bit more intimate and become more aware of the person behind the music, man, just tap into my my personal social media platforms, which again is at Lord Victory to God, and you can also type in Facebook at Lord Victory Walker.
How can we get some of that gear?
Hey man, listen, D Official Brands, D_official_brands. You can go there, grab that. You can go to www.dofficialbrands.com. Earl the Bird, you can go to earlthebird.com, but just, I didn't even want to put that out there yet. It's coming. It's coming. Hey man, if you need to inbox me, I deliver. I do all of that, man. I'm out here hustling. I'm trying to make it happen.
Hustling. You know what I'm saying? I like it.
Indeed.
Oh, man.
Show, bro.
Man, I appreciate you coming, man. And it's a good thing having you here, man. I like that. I like what you bringing to the table, man. Keep doing your thing, man, and you're going to make it.
I appreciate it, bro.
You're going to make it.
For sure. I appreciate it.
Boogie.
You have just listened to the Can You Picture This podcast? The podcast for the strongest, fastest, most powerful t-shirt/print shop on this side of the Eastern Seaboard. You can catch us in the heart of Detroit, Greenfield, and Grand River, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our address is 14223 Greenfield Road, Detroit, Michigan, 48227. Our phone number is 313-273-5000.